What's up, Smite fans? Raythan here. I'm back with yet another top tips video. This time we're going to be diving into Season 8 and the new Conquest map with my top 3 Season 8 tips for mid laners. As always, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and make sure your notifications are on for when I drop new videos. As mentioned, we're bringing back the how-to content for Season 8 with my top tips for mid laners in the new season. Much has changed with the new map, and everything from the farm that you get to the fights that you take to the way that you fight has changed. If you had a chance to play on the PTS, sorry to the console fam out there, you already know that the life of a mid laner has drastically changed. It used to be okay to solo camps, free rotate to side lanes, and even wander into a team fight a little late and get your damage off. That's different now. Everything changes in Season 8. You don't get away with nearly the same stuff anymore. You're infinitely more vulnerable in the mid lane, and you have to make critical decisions on how and when to rotate. So with that, I've decided to gather all of my experience up from playing on the Season 8 map and come up with my top 3 tips for the mid lane. All right, let's start things off with number 3. Learn how to counter farm. This one's pretty simple, and it's a bit of a relic of Season 7. I used it mostly when I was jungling, but now it kind of applies to mid laners as well. The new Season 8 map is something like 30% wider and 20% longer than the Season 7 map, means that it takes forever to rotate, whether it's to an objective fight, a team fight, a gank, or what have you. It takes an insane amount of time to get from the mid lane to wherever you're going. Rather than show up abysmally late to the side lanes, jungle bosses, and generally bad fights that are just going to get you killed, look for farm on the opposite side of the map. The map is so much bigger that rotating as soon as a fight pops off might just get you killed more often than not. You're likely going to be stepping on a bunch of wards as the whole mid lane corridors are extremely popular places to drop them. You're going to alert the entire enemy team that you're coming and alone, and you're going to end up arriving late and or dead. Instead, try to take your new one-man advantage and apply pressure elsewhere. Invade their buffs, take their scorpions, take the pyromancer. Instead of trying to counter the gank with a rotation, counter the gank with farm, or even a gank on the opposite side of the map. You want to look to seesaw the map. Where they aren't is where you should look for farm, especially if you're behind. All right, moving right along to number 2. Wait for fights to start before you show your face. One other thing I noticed playing mid, flashback to the Creator Cup Raw game.
I'm on it! Let's do this.
Oh, fucking, I have 1 second on my...
You guys have the ability to be mid, that is all the left experience, and then push left if you want. Just live the mid. Do not...
I shoved it.
He's knocked out. You know, right? They're diving right hard. That's right. You can see the way roll. See the way roll. See the way roll. Look at roll. Let's go. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Turn right in that. Rudy. Burn him. It's okay. Start running away. Start running away.
Come on, man. I wish I had gone. And jungle is how spread out the team fights are. The sheer number of environment walls, buff camps, pillars, and more make it easy for bad teams to get separated during team fights, even in the wide open spaces around objectives. On top of that, warding is insanely important, and most smart players are warding like crazy before every gank, team fight, or objective. This is generally bad for mid laners especially. It makes it easy to pick them off, separate them from their tanks, and drive them out of the fight. The solution to this is actually pretty simple and has 2 steps to it. 1, set yourself up in a solid place of safety before an objective or fight pops off, and always carry a sentry ward with you. When you feel like you're in a spot that you're comfortable fighting from, ward at your feet, make sure there are no wards there, and make sure the enemy team doesn't have clear line of sight vision of you. Then, and this is the important part, wait for the fight to start before you show your face. Typically with most players, once they've picked a target, junglers, soul laners, even some supports, they tend to tunnel vision, and if you're slightly behind the very start of a fight, the chances of you getting run at by their team drastically drop. Try this tip out on any map, Season 8 or otherwise. You typically don't want to give the enemy free vision of you if you're a mage, and Season 8 is no exception. Show up a little bit late when these fights start. All right, last but not least, my number 1 tip for Season 8 mid laners is play gods with mobility. We are already seeing gods with mobility rise to popularity in Season 8 high-level scrims, and that is going to trickle down into the rest of the meta quickly. As someone who has played everything from Giannis to that Raw game we're not going to talk about, I can tell you that you absolutely feel the lack of mobility on mid mages. Even with items like Doom Orb, the ability to rotate, get out of trouble, and reposition yourselves in fights is absolutely necessary for now, while the ultra dive heavy Season 8 meta shakes out. Gods like Giannis, Merlin, Nuwa, Raijin, Thoth, and even Poseidon are going to be heavily valued in this new meta, not only for their mobility, but also their ability to self-peel. If you want to see for yourself, give one of these gods a try and then pick up somebody like Zeus or Opwash and tell me how it goes. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for my top tips video for the mid lane, but the common theme for all of these is simple. Season 8 mages need to play safer and more selfishly than ever, and you need to pick gods that do that well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section what you think, what you'd add, and how you feel about Season 8. As always, I'm live on my Twitch channel pretty much every single night if you'd like to do some Q&A and test out the new map with me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. I think my video is done. Let's go.